Do you have a health message that you would like to make more memorable so that when people listen to you, whether it's an audience of one or an audience of many, from a camera, from a stage, from a crowd, in a coaching call, that your audience will be able to listen to your words, to be able to remember what you said, to actually apply it better, and to be more persuasive if you're selling from stage or you're selling, monetizing your health knowledge online or offline. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you a step-by-step guide to making your health message more memorable. If you want to learn how to craft marketing messages that allow you to make money with your health knowledge, this video is for you, because I'm going to show you some AI content creation secrets, 4 of them to be exact. And these content creation principles have been really game-changing for my business, for my clients, and for making my messages a lot more memorable. So first, I want to tell you, there's a story of, I used to live at a church, and one of those big breakthroughs that I got was, while I was living at this church, we had this basically a community kitchen, and that was the only kitchen we had. And we would do cooking classes there, we would have fellowship lunch, and we would have a variety of different ladies who would come into the kitchen every weekend after church service. And the wild thing was that everybody and their mother thought that they had a different place. They knew where the pots, the pans, our Tupperware, our like different things would go and where it belonged. So like during the week, the pastor and I, we'd always like have the most challenging time finding like, where is our pot at if we wanted to cook during the week? Because it's like often these dishes and pots were all in a different cupboard like every week. It was wild. And so as we were going through, one thing that I learned is that when the cupboards and the drawers, they weren't labeled, everybody had a different idea of what to call it or where things belonged, or designated these like cupboards that we weren't even sure about. So what we ended up doing is when we are working with a group of people, we will label the cupboards, the cups and the pots and the pans, and we would designate specific locations in the kitchen for the different objects that belong there, with the miscellaneous drawers, the silverware drawers, the pots go here, the pans go here, and the leftover dishes, they go here. So once we labeled it, everybody knew exactly where to put things and where they belonged, and became so much easier to navigate. Well, the same thing, our minds are like drawers and cupboards, and your audience's minds are very much like that. Without labels to the concepts and the frameworks that you teach, it makes it very difficult to be able to remember them or even retrieve the information when they need it most. You know, when they're feeling like giving up and when they're being pressed with difficulty and they're like, I don't think this works. It's when you learn to label your concepts. When you label every concept, this is what helps your audience to be able to recall what you share. So when you think about when you get a new dog, when you get a new pet, what is the first thing that you give it? You give it a name. And why do you give it the name? So that when you call it, it'll come to you, right? That's the same thing with these concepts, is when you label every concept, then you're able to when you call for the concept, it's able to come to you. You're able to remember what you were saying. You're not forgetting what you're saying. This is where this allows you to give like 5-figure speeches without notes. It allows you to give coaching messages that are memorable. It helps you to be ready always at any time to give an answer for the reason of the hope that's in you with meekness and fear, like 1 Peter 3:15 talks about. And it's like by being able to label these concepts, it gives a handle to your message that your audience can now walk off with, carry out, to repeat, to duplicate. I mean, it is amazing what happens. In fact, I was one of the first courses I've ever invested in. It was a $1,000 course. I bought it when I didn't have the money and I couldn't afford it. And I'm just like, how am I going to do this? But this course was teaching step by step how to turn your content into a career. And I'm like, I want that. I need that. I desire that. Because here I've been creating cooking classes and health lectures and content online since like 2012. And for the first 5 years, I wasn't really like that profitable in doing it, but I really wanted to turn this content into a career and serve people. But So I invested in this $1,000 course, and one of the lessons that they learned, they taught some like how to create contagious content, how to create memorable content. They talked about these this concept of like what I call now infogagement. How you don't want just information that's dry like an encyclopedia, because people aren't going to buy that. If they wanted dry encyclopedia facts, they would just go to an encyclopedia and buy that. But you see the whole Encyclopedia Britannica sitting at the library shelves, and people rarely go through it because that's not what people are paying for. They want not just the information, but they want to be engaged. They want engaging information with some stories, some steps, some memorable concepts and frameworks. So in order to create infogagement, that's what they were teaching about. This is a type of information that you need, whether it's in the videos you record, the coaching calls, or whether it's when you're speaking from stage. The more engaging you are, asking questions, involving people, and giving these names, labeling every concept, this is what's going to be helpful. And then one of the lessons, they said the golden rules of engagement. And they were giving a list of golden rules. And one of those golden rules was to give each concept a catchy name. And this allows it to be sticky in their mind. It helps to it's like duct tape to your messages, where it's able to stick ideas in their memory so that they never forget it. When you hear a new idea or new name, it creates dopamine, and dopamine is like a sticky note of the brains, and it's telling the memory, oh, remember that, don't forget that one. So when you label your concepts, it allows your audience to be able to remember them so much better. And so like when what you want to do is you want to create these frameworks. Another golden rule was to have frameworks for what you're teaching. And what is a framework? A framework is simply a step-by-step system for producing a consistent result. It's a step-by-step process. You want to have a frameworks for different parts of your business. And overall, there's like a flagship framework. This allows you to automate your business. If you look at a framework, think of it like, imagine your ideal client is at the bottom of this mountain. And at the top of the mountain, there is an achievement that they want to accomplish. And that could be losing weight, it could be gaining muscle, it could be lowering their blood pressure, it could be reversing a chronic illness. Like, at the top of the mountain is some results that they want, and they're sad here at the bottom at the beginning, and your framework is that step-by-step process of how they could lose weight, how they could reverse, defy the diagnosis, how they can overcome the high blood pressure, whatever the result is. That's what's going to help. So on my YouTube channel, I recorded a video called The Automation Effect, and on YouTube, I talked about how I automated my health coaching business and I doubled my income by creating these frameworks. And in this video, this is my framework for creating frameworks. So if you want help on knowing how to create these concepts and frameworks and structure your content better, this is a video to go check out that video. Today, what we're talking about is more about how to label them, how to make your frameworks more memorable, easier to retrieve for you and your audience. But that video shows you how to create them. So we were working with one of my accelerator students, Dr. Kendra Lee. She helps people to lose weight through detox juicing over in Bermuda. And while we were helping her in our signature speech workshop, that's one thing, we help people to craft their signature speech so they can create like an infinite sales message that they could deliver again and again without losing its power of persuasion. And she attended one of our speaker trainings, and we broke down one of the concepts she wanted to teach, or an objection she wanted to overcome or address, is that when people are juicing, they're going to think that, oh, I can't juice because I don't have enough discipline. I'm going to get hungry. I'm going to start craving other stuff. And if someone believes that, it's going to prevent them from actually buying or investing into detox juicing coaching that helps them to lose weight. And so I asked her, I said, well, how do you address that? How do you help people to not have those cravings? And she was telling me about how juicing, when implemented correctly, it provides you with all the nutrients that your body needs. The reason why you feel you can't give up the foods is because you're lacking nutrients. So during a detox juice, like during a juicing detox, you're actually flooding the body with a variety of nutrients that are in concentrated form that would allow you to be able to get the nutrients you're not usually getting from your regular meals. So while your body's getting the nutrients, you actually don't it's not like you're starving. You're actually doing the opposite of that. You're flooding the body with nutrition. And I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. That makes a lot of sense. So what we did is we worked with her to turn that concept into a framework. And this is what I call a converting framework, because you have, there's two types of frameworks. You want to have a converting framework that helps educate people closer to a sale, that's able to help overcome buying objections that would prevent people from saying yes to your back-end offer. And that is where you're teaching someone value and helping them to, often like teaching a principle or breaking beliefs that that helps like bring clarity around a problem, but also increases the perceived value of your back-end offer. And then there's coaching frameworks that those are really designed to help someone to coach them. It's like more how-to, more implementation, and less information, more implementation of how to get the result. But she's creating a signature speech so that she could sell her program. So this is a converting framework. We're thinking, okay, how can we frame this concept in a way that is a framework, and also label it so it's memorable and it's easy to understand. So what we did is we turned this secret into a teaching point hook. And this hook was how tasting the color of the rainbow will make you lose the desire for unhealthy food. And you hear that, you're like, what? That sounds like a Skittles commercial. What is that talking about? And so what she was explaining to me is how really that there is when you drink different colors, there are different nutrients that are associated with different colors. So the types of red fruits or red vegetables tend to be very good for the blood, very good for your circulatory system, and has a lot of iron in it. And then the colors that are green are going to have a lot of chlorophyll, have a lot of different nutrients in there. I'm like, wow, that's really powerful. So she said that what I promote is I teach people to have a variety of colors. By having a variety of colors, and they're going to get the nutrients from the different types of plants, that their body's not going to be craving the unhealthy food or wanting the stuff more because their bodies are getting the nutrients that they need. And I was like, that's really powerful. And so our team helped her to figure out, well, what if what we do is we just show that the rainbows, if the rainbow already has a framework. Like I remember there's a memory device for like how I learned the colors of the rainbow was called Roy G. Biv. And it was like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? Roy G. Biv. So that's the 7 colors of the rainbow. So we could just show that, and we can call this framework Tasting the Colors of the Rainbow. And then you could explain how when you taste the different colors, you're getting different nutrients so that your body no longer craves. We crave the junk food when we're lacking nutrients, but when you flood your body with nutrition, then we lose the cravings. And that will turn the reason why people say they can't invest in your program is the very reason why they must and they want to invest in your program. Turn that excuse into a reason to say yes. And so that was the framework that we worked on with her, and it was powerful. So, like, how many of you here would like to have AI to help you come up with framework names, framework ideas, concepts? Comment AI in the chat, and soon in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you could dig in and let AI to do that. So usually we work with our highest paying clients, and we take them through our speaker training, and we'll actually help craft different frameworks in your business to get clear on your messaging. But I was like, well, how can we do this in a way that more people can do it? Let's teach them how to use AI to help them with some similar things that we would otherwise be doing with our clients. So the first secret of making your message more memorable is label every concept. When you give them a label, it's gonna be a game changer. It's gonna help you remember. It's gonna help your audience remember. It's gonna, most importantly, help them to implement and take action on your offers, to say yes, to actually pull out their wallets and invest in you. And when you show a structured concept, structured form of communicating, people dig that. And then they're like, wow, I want you to be my coach. I want you to be my mentor to help me through my health challenges. So the second secret is to use what I like to call lesson labels. And here's another example. Like, I have taken this concept and I've labeled it as a lesson label. What is that? So a lesson label is when you have these lesser, like let's say it spells the word labels. We made it where it's more easy for you to understand or to follow along with. So it spells labels, and the first L stands for lies, right? So you could talk about, here are 3 lies about the weight loss industry doesn't want you to know. Or it's like, here's 3 lies Big Pharma teaches you about lowering your blood pressure. So whenever you're exposing lies in the industry, what's powerful about lies is that these are often like, you can take a buying objection that they believe that would prevent them from saying yes, and you can frame it as a lie that the weight loss industry or the big pharma or mainstream medicine teaches, or the food industry. You just frame it as like, these are lies that this common enemy wants you to believe, that's keeping you like fat, sick, nearly dead, with high blood pressure, whatever it is. So you could expose the lies in the industry. And then the A stands for advantages. And this advantages, it could be like, here's 3 advantages of losing weight naturally. Or here's 3 advantages of, like, you could show the advantages of your offer. I have a framework where I talk about the 7 advantages of an author of publishing a book, and I show that there is an offline advantage for people who publish a book. You're going to have an offline benefits while living in a digital age. There's a revenue advantage because you get better clients, you get better leads that come through a book. They tend to be more higher affluent buyers as book readers. So I take these 7 benefits, and instead of telling someone like 7 reasons why to detox or to cleanse, then you could just say, what's 7 advantages of juicing, or what's 7 advantages of calisthenics when you're working out without exercise equipment by using your body. So you show like the calisthenic advantage, that's the name, and you could go through a list of like 7 advantages. So that's a lesson label you could use. And what I want you to see is that soon I'll show you, you could use the same label, the same like 3 teaching points, for instance. You don't have to change the teaching points, you just change the label, how you frame the concept, how you label it, and the lessons, and you could share the same 3 lessons. It's really powerful. I'll give you an example. So B stands for beliefs. Maybe you could say like, here's 5 beliefs that prevent people from losing weight. Here are 5 beliefs that are keeping you stuck. Or here's 5 beliefs that keep your blood pressure through the roof, or whatever the case is. Like, these beliefs is a label that you can use. E is for excuses. Here's 5 excuses, and L is for levels. Here's the 4 levels of weight loss. Here's the 4 levels of learning. Here's the 4 levels of income. Here's the 4 levels of heart disease. Here's the 4 levels of chronic of disease, and you can have acute level 1, acute level 2. You can have chronic. Level 4 is terminal, and it just shows like, here's 4 levels of elimination, and you can just show like the progression of different ways that people lose weight. And I know that John Maxwell, he has a very famous framework, the 5 levels of leadership. And when you give a level to your lessons, you show level 1, level 2, level 3. I have a framework that shows the 4 levels of selling, and walking health educators through. When you master the self-selling, selling yourself, then level 2 is selling one-on-one. Level 3 is selling one-to-many. Then level 4 is book selling, by being able to automate your offer at scale. I mean, there's no limit to who you could reach through a book. So now you have automation and your offer and an audience, and it's just incredible. So by structuring your ideas in levels of learning, levels of development, levels, stages, phases, if you're showing people a path, a step-by-step process of how to get somewhere, framing those steps and levels can be really powerful. And then the S is secrets. So we see secrets will help you to, people love hearing secrets. They love learning about secrets. So you can just reveal them secrets. Like in this video, I'm sharing with you 4 content creation secrets using AI to be able to do that. And I'll show you how you can use in a moment AI to be able to do all of these for you. But I want you to understand the concept so you can grasp where, one, you could either like do it yourself, have the ability, or two, you could use AI to be able to do this for you. So if you want to know other lesson labels, I mean, you could literally take this. Here's some examples on the screen. You could take the same 3 teaching points or lessons. The lessons don't have to change. You just change the label. You can call them myths. You can say, here's 7 causes of heart disease. Here's 7 symptoms of high blood pressure. Here's 3 keys to lowering your blood pressure. Here's 3 hacks for losing weight quickly. Here's 5 tips for weight loss, time management, or like healthy productivity tips. Here's 4 principles of weight loss. Here's 3 biggest mistakes that many professionals make that's keeping them from losing weight. Here's 3 secrets to losing weight naturally. Here's 3 steps. Here's 5 ways. Here's habits. These are 7 habits every healthy person has who used to be overweight. Or here's 5 reasons to cleanse. There's 3 lies that the weight loss industry doesn't want you to know. And so like these lesson labels are really simple. You could just change the label and use the same lessons, and then congratulations, you got new content. And it's really powerful. So here's an example. Someone we've taken through our signature speech training, and they're helping people lose weight, how to lower their blood pressure naturally. There's 3 secrets. They chose the lesson label. They labeled their teaching point as a secret. So secret number 1 is why high blood pressure medication is preventing you from healing. And so it's basically showing that like the drugs don't heal, they only conceal what the body feels. So it's like you're just taking the symptom, you're taking a drug for a symptom, and then it doesn't eliminate the cause, it just moves that symptom somewhere else. So it's basically showing people that, hey, the same drug medication is not designed to help you to heal. What you need to do is use natural ways and allow your body to address the source. And so that's the first teaching point. Second is the number 1 cause of high blood pressure almost no one is talking about, and that's talking about toxicity. It's just showing that you need to cleanse, and how by cleansing the impurities that will help you to lower your blood pressure. And it's overcoming the objection, well, I'm not toxic, I don't need to cleanse. And then number 3 is the biggest expense of your life and how to avoid it. And it's showing like the biggest expense, like you not knowing how to lower your blood pressure is costing you a fortune because of like the stroke, the heart attack, the surgery, the prescriptions, like all this stuff, they stack up, and it causes a lot of stress in your relationships, in your health, and in just showing these different things. So I want to show you an example. These are 3 teaching points. These are 3 lessons, and you can use these same 3 lessons. You don't change the lessons, you change the label. So I'll show you an example. So here's the lesson labels. Let's take them one by one, and I'll show you how you'd use these same 3 lessons just framed in a different label. So number 1 is like, here's 3 lies you believe about lowering blood pressure. And it's like, oh, okay. And you show them again how it's like the drugs are going to lower your blood pressure, how it has nothing to do with toxicity, or how it's just like that you can't lower your blood pressure. You're going to be stuck on the drugs for the rest of your life. And that would be like the cost of ignorance. The same teaching point, just a different label. And then the next one is, here's 3 advantages of lowering your blood pressure naturally. So now you show the benefits of doing it naturally versus being hooked on the drugs for the rest of your life. Or here's 3 beliefs preventing you from lowering your blood pressure. Or here's 3 beliefs that's causing your high blood pressure. Here's 3 excuses that keep you from lowering your blood pressure naturally. And now you frame these limiting beliefs or these buying objections as excuses. And you could show people like a challenge. Like in the book, How to Win Friends, Influence People, one of the chapters is like, throw down a challenge. People love when you can help challenge them to think differently, call them out on their bluffs, and be like, hey, there is a better way and you could do it. I want to support you in a friendly, kind, tactful manner, but still in one that doesn't like leave the person sick and dying when you have the ability to help them. So the L, we're looking like, here's 3 levels of blood pressure recovery. So level 1, you start doing things naturally. Level 2, you start actually detoxing. Level 3, you start becoming aware and you overcome the lack of knowledge about it. So you start studying it. So it's the same 3 teaching points. Now you're just showing like, here's 3 levels of a high blood pressure recovery. Here's how you can recover. Doesn't that sound nice? It's got a ring to it. And then the last one is 3 secrets to lowering your blood pressure naturally, which is the lesson label that we chose to go with in their signature speech. And but what I want you to see here is like, look, here is 6 different labels that could be used, and these are like 6 different pieces of content. Congratulations, you just got, if you release a video once a week, that's 6 weeks done, and you don't even so much have to change the title. I mean, the teaching points, you just change the title. And now as you're using a different label, you're reaching a different audience, and you're reaching different segments, and it doesn't feel like it's just the same thing over and over. You're able to reach different people by the hooks, and you see which ones work really good, and then do more of what works and do less of what doesn't. That's pretty simple, right? Another mistake that a lot of people make when they are using these lesson labels is they start getting into like way too many steps. Like I was consulting with a health educator. He's helping people to overcome food addictions. And he's like, here's 8 steps to overcome food addictions. And this was his lead magnet. And I was like, hey, it's great you have 8 principles, these 8 lessons for these teaching points to overcome food addictions. But when you're using steps, it's really overwhelming. I like to avoid using steps that are more than like 3, because like 3 is easy it sounds easy, it sounds simple. 3 is easy to remember. 3 is like you have like ready, set, go, or on your marks, get set, go, lights, camera, action, stop, drop, and roll. It is like there's 3 is very common for our minds to like grasp, but when you start getting into like 5, 6, 7 steps, 10 steps, then what that does to your audience, it just makes them feel like, oh, that's overwhelming. Like I got to do 10 steps before I get something. That's stressful. But if you show, here's 3 steps to a result, and people are like, oh, I could do that. But if you're going to have principles like more than 3 or 5, like 5, 6, 7 somewhere, I would never do more than 10. Like 10 when you're doing a framework, like these are called listicles. When you have like numbers, they're called listicles. But you don't want to give a list of like, it's going to be 10 or less. And if you do 10, you're going to spend a lot less time talking about each one. But a good number is 3. It's easy to remember. Like anywhere in between is generally a decent strategy. But don't give them a label that's like 8 steps. Give it like 8 mistakes that people make keeping them addicted to foods, or 8 biggest mistakes that are causing your food cravings, or here are like 8 lies that you've believed that keep you dependent emotionally eating, or here are 8 hacks, 8 tips, 8 secrets. Like you could do that, but I wouldn't do 8 steps. Does that make sense? If you're so far finding this valuable, I want you to comment value in the chat below. If this is like, wow, I'm understanding, this is making sense for me. So the second secret is to use lesson labels. Use them, and they're gonna work for you. And now the third, this is where you could have an endless amount of ideas and content. It's really powerful. Is a concept I teach my students is to be a super student of successful speakers. And what's powerful is this is where you're able to use what I call the remix strategy. And the remix strategy shows that you have, like, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and start from scratch, success leaves clues. And what that means is like model the mentors. Find people who are very effective communicators, who are able to captivate crowds, who are able to communicate on camera, and they're able to gather attention, and they're memorable. And notice how a lot of times these speakers, they will frame their lessons. Like now as I teach you, one of the effects that you're going to get a lot by listening to my content, what people say, is that when they learn these concepts, they start seeing it everywhere. And they're like, wow, I can't see these messages the same again. And they're like through podcasts and YouTube videos and Facebook Lives and advertisements, or just going throughout life in the day. They're like, that's what it was. They were making these frameworks and giving them a catchy name. And because what I do is like, I'm pulling back the curtains of what successful speakers are doing in our industry, and the stuff that like a lot of people just don't tell you. And even when they know it, they just don't teach on these things. Number one, sometimes some of the best health educators who are really making the biggest difference and making the biggest money, it's like they don't want you to know. because they're afraid that you're going to like take their clients, or number two, they don't mind, but that's just not what they teach. So they're not there to show you how to do what they've done to get to the place that they are in growing a successful health education business. So what I like to do is pull back the curtains and show you what the industry is doing so that you can monetize your health knowledge online. So if you like that, subscribe to our channel so you get more videos just like this. I release a new video every Tuesday. So with the remix strategy, what you get to do is you get to find successful frameworks and don't copy them, but remix them. Ask the question. I like to ask the question, what is my version of that framework? What is my version of that concept? And I'll show you what that looks like. Another question you can ask is, like, you could literally take you could take ideas from a different context, a different offer, different message. Like even if they're talking about wealth, you could apply it to health. If they're talking about if they're talking about gardening, you could take it and apply it to like weight loss. And the way that you do it is when you're listening about things you're interested in, ask the question, how does that relate to the context of what I teach? If I teach about lowering blood pressure, if I teach about youthful aging, if I teach about how to work out with calisthenics, if I'm teaching about foraging wild herbs, like I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to look at how does that fit? And I'm watching a video maybe about marketing, or maybe you're looking at my content. You could say, what is my version of that? How could I fit that in the context of what I teach? And so I'll give you an example. Let's say we're watching a video called here's the format. It's like there's a number of enemies. So like 3 enemies of blank, like this subject. So I remember I was listening to a podcast that I found, it really stuck in my mind. And I think about it often. It's by Craig Rochelle. And in this podcast, he talks about how the title is like Defeating the 4 Enemies of Growth, part 1. And in this leadership podcast, it was like, I value growth, I like it. And he was showing how like some of the enemies is like lack of organization, lack of a system, lack of delegation. And he was just showing like there's 4 enemies of growth. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But how does that fit in the context of what I teach? You could notice by searching like 4 enemies of, and he put growth, and he's in the context of leadership. Well, there's here is Ed Mylett, and he teaches about business and success. And so he says the 4 hidden enemies of success. So now he's like, avoid these 4 things. And there's the psychological trigger in the mind that they want to avoid making mistakes. We don't want to mess up. So we want to avoid these enemies. And Craig Rochelle often says that you cannot defeat an enemy that you cannot correctly label or name. And so he's constantly naming enemies in his content. And then here's a lady who I don't really know her, but she titled her video, The 4 Enemies of Wealth. Clearly she's talking about money. And she's got 18,000 views, not bad. And she posted it 2 months ago. So she's doing pretty good with that title. So when you're watching content, my point is you could watch like any subject. You just ask, what is this? How does this fit in the context of what I teach? So let's say you teach weight loss. You could say the 3 enemies of weight loss. Let's say you talk about calisthenics and building muscle. You say the 3 enemies of gaining muscle. If someone's having a hard time gaining muscles and strength, and you're like, here's 3 enemies. Let me reveal why you're not gaining or putting on the muscle you desire. Or let's say you're teaching fasting. Here's 6 enemies of fasting. And you could talk about, sometimes you have the teaching points and you start there and you frame the teaching points into a lesson. Other times you could literally just start with this kind of framework and say, okay, if I were to teach 6 enemies of fasting, what are the things that holds people back? What are the things that messes them up? It's like not scheduling it or planning for it, not preparing in advance, not batching your juices, or like going out to eat with your friends while hanging out with friends who like going to like fast food when you're fasting. Like that's probably not the best place. If you're recovering from alcohol, it may not be good to go to the bar, or like whatever the case is. So like 6 enemies of fasting, just thinking like, okay, well, if I were to describe 6 enemies, what would they be? And there you got some content, and it becomes so simple and it's structured in a manner that's easy to remember for you to teach and easy for them to remember and apply and to pay for. So now you're structuring your ideas. Let's say you're teaching people how to overcome autoimmune disease. So you could say the 4 enemies of your immune system. And you might say that enemy number 1 is and they might be another name for pathogens. So you could say like viruses are an enemy of your immune system. Another one is allergies, that your body has targeted as poison to you, but it's not from other people. Another enemy might be for the fungus. So when spores or some sort of fungus starts going into your body, like candida or yeast infections, or let's say another enemy is bacteria, harmful bacteria. So you just go through the 4 enemies of the immune system, and now you labeled a concept. Congratulations. You've now made your message a lot more memorable. So you can think about, like, what is my version of that? And what I would share with you is that when you are teaching this concept, what you want to do is you want to have a swap file. See, I was reading a book, Copywriter Secrets by Jim Edwards, and he was explaining how you can take these, and in order to just pump them out so fast and quick, instead of trying to start from scratch, you could just take a swap file, which is like a list of these frameworks that these labels, these concepts, and you could just pick and change the subject, and it's really easy to follow along. So I'll show you an example. So here's my screen, as you can see, and then what you can do is you've got, like, here's my copywriting database. This is my swap file, and let's say I'm teaching like a how-to. Here is the formula is and then let's say there's 3 steps. An action plan for, and then whatever the lasting result is. So an example is your 3-step action plan for maximizing your mentorship, which became one of the chapters of my book. So you could say your 3-step action plan for weight loss. And so that's like how-to stuff. When you are dealing with like myth busting or overcoming buying objections, you could talk about like the subject trap. I've read a book where it was talking about the 7 money traps, and it was just like things that keep people from being able to make more money. You can share like the 7 health traps or the 7 weight loss traps, and these are traps and pitfalls that you fall into when you don't know how to that are going to keep you from losing weight. So you have the 7 deadly sins of weight loss, the 7 deadly sins of your immune system, or like 5 weight loss myths, 7 productivity myths, 5 money myths, 7 originality myths that people think that they got these original ideas, or like the myth of insert whatever the subject, like the myth of multitasking is one thing I learned from a Dr. Caroline Leaf, her book. That was one of the titles, and she's like, look, multitasking is a myth. You don't multitask, you task switch. And every time you switch, you're actually turning your brain into like a milkshake, and it's not able to handle it really well. So the myth of time management, I've read books that talk about time management, that you can't manage time. Time goes with or without you. But while there's no such thing as time management, there is such thing as energy management. When you manage your energy levels, it helps you to be more productive. I'm like, wow, that was helpful. So what you do is, like, as you're creating content or listening to content, stop consuming content as a content consumer, start consuming content as a content marketer, as a content creator, and this is going to help you to be able to do it better. So you could see like the 5 types of best-selling authors, the law of compensation or the law of weight loss, 4 levels of value, which we talked about, 21 laws of leadership. And so basically this is my swap file. I've spent years just studying frameworks and recognizing patterns that people have. What I challenge you is to create your framework. I mean, your swap file, and you can create a swap file, and I'm using Notion to do this. You could use a spreadsheet, you could use a Google Doc, you could use whatever you want to, but Notion works really well for me. And you can take this and then be able to employ that in your business. So you're never starting from scratch. You're able to get back to what you were doing. We could switch back to my slides now. And then it helps that all future content becomes so much easier to be able to do. So the 3rd teaching point is to be a super student of successful speakers. Now, the 4th is, this is where we get to show you how to use AI to find catchy labels. So what I wanted to do is that I want to show you like 2 paths, 2 options that you have. You could either, on one side, you can do it yourself. Now I'm giving you the tools of what I've used over the years to be able to figure out how to craft memorable messages so that people actually pay me for my health advice. It allows me to get booked to speak and travel the nation and the world to be able to share on the concepts that matter, that have coaching clients that pay me. And like this has been great. So you could do it yourself, and the other option is you can have AI to do it for you. And what we've done is we've actually crafted, we put our swap file and our understanding of prompt engineering into a program that we call Skills Unlimited. And you can allow Skills Unlimited to create your framework for you. This will help come up with names. It'll help you come up with titles. Then literally all you got to do is fill in 2 questions and then whack a button, and then boom, it generates for you a list of really cool frameworks that you could use. In fact, I could even show you what this looks like. And what the reason why I created Skills Unlimited is because I wanted to make it easy for our students to be able to access. I wanted to make it easier for our accelerator students as we're walking through and we're showing them what they can do. I wanted to help them to be able to apply these principles. And here we go. Here's an example. So here's what we put in here. Here is the framework where who's your target audience, and the answer is women, professional women over 40 who want to lower their high blood pressure. And then what is your content or framework about? Here's 3 ways to lower your blood pressure naturally. Like that's it. If you could just answer 2 short questions and whack a button, hit submit, and then it generates all of this. And then it shows like, here's one, the future of lowering high blood pressure. It's like the future of cardiovascular wellness or heart health. That could be effective. It says healthy lifestyle roadmap, or the second pillar of health, or the 3 pillars of health, or the 3 pillars of heart health. So that would work really well. And you could even say the 3 building blocks of heart health, or healthful hypertension management. You could say you could say like high blood pressure recovery formula. That's pretty cool. And then the 3 levels of stress reduction. That's a powerful framework that could fit really well. The 4 levels of blood pressure recovery. So those are some, like, it gives you 10 frameworks that you could use. And the reason why I say 10 is because if you ask for 10, then 7 of them will probably be pretty spot on and that you could use. And it's like, we just got like 7 content ideas that could work as entire videos. And we just fill in the blank. And a lot of times we don't even have to change the lessons. We could literally use the same lessons, just framed differently, and congratulations, you already got some content. Or maybe you just not just write down what is said, but write down what you think of as a result of what is said, and it generates for you like a list of our swap file that you can now use and implement. And then after you explore those suggestions, you can actually find more framework naming ideas at this link. So I actually give you in Skills Unlimited a link to the swap file that I've developed over the years. And the same thing that I showed you a few minutes ago, you now have access to our copywriting database, and then you get examples of what you could fill in the blank with. And we even provide, sometimes there's like links to where you can see that they've worked and they've been really effective. And so all of that is available to you in the Skills Unlimited AI. So we can go back to the slides. And so we put this together to really make it easier for you. And what we're doing is Skills Unlimited is a suite. It's an AI studio that allows you to create marketing messages. It's the world's first and only AI-powered copywriter specifically designed for holistic health educators to monetize their health knowledge online. And so it's trained on some of the best frameworks in the world to help you to craft marketing messages that actually make you money, that actually work. So you don't have to, it takes the guesswork out of trying to do all this stuff yourself. And there's like 3 types of work you can do. You can have guesswork, you can have hard work, or you can follow a framework. And if you'd like to invest in a framework and get access to our framework generator, then comment the word AI down below, and I'll gladly send you a link to a free masterclass that we've done that shows you exactly how to get set up, what is Skills Unlimited, AI, and how you can use these tools to build a business. And really in this masterclass, you're going to see the secrets to using AI to make big money with a small audience, because contrary to popular belief, you don't need a large audience in order to make substantial income. And AI has made it's never been easier than ever before to use AI to simplify your business growth. So just comment the word AI and I'll be glad to send you the training that shows you how you can get access to our AI agents and so much more. And then I'd also like to know what is a marketing skill or task that you do that you wish takes less time? Leave a comment in the comments below too, because we're always looking for feedback and ways that we can create agents that will help work in your business for you, so that while you're working on the business, your agents can be working in your business. And so just let me know, like, what is a marketing skill or task that you do that you wish it takes less time, or that's kind of daunting, or maybe you would be doing if you were. If you had an agent for it that could just do it within seconds, answer a few questions, whack a button, because we can actually deploy more of these agents in our software to make your lives easier. So what we've been talking about, teaching 4.4, is to use AI to find catchy labels. So you don't have to start from scratch or even use your swap file. You can use the ones that we provide in Skills Unlimited. So this has been a step-by-step guide to making your health message memorable. I wanted to show you how you can do it yourself, or how you can allow us and our AI-powered copywriter to do it for you. That way, either way, whatever route you take, that you could be served, you could be blessed, and I look forward to hearing from you. Follow us for more tips on how to monetize your health knowledge online, and subscribe and hit the notification so you can get more messages just like this. And remember, friends, God doesn't call a qualified, He qualifies a called. Have a great day, and God bless.